Hi lovelies, so I'm back for this week's YouTube EFT tapping sequence, and this week I'm choosing a topic that might be a bit challenging for some people, and it's something that I feel like a lot of people are probably even a little bit scared to even talk about or admit, because of fear of judgment basically. So I've chosen the topic mum rage. And if you know, you know. So this is something that I think and know so many women experience through their motherhood journey. And it's something that is probably not talked about enough. And we probably don't get enough support in because it's not something that we want to admit to. We don't want to admit to feeling rage about parenting, at our children, about the fact that we're mothers, anything linked to motherhood, we don't want to admit having negative feelings about. But the label of negative is just what we attach to it. A feeling is a feeling, and none of them should be hidden because of fear of judgment. In order to be able to acknowledge and manage our emotions and release them so that they can't have an impact on us or our loved ones anymore, we should be able to speak about them, name them, acknowledge them, face them, and then be able to release them. So this is for any mothers that are struggling with bouts of mum rage. You're not alone. You are definitely not alone. I see you. I hear you. I understand. I've been there often, still am. And I just hope that this brings you some comfort that it's not just you that feels rage at times while parenting, and there is support for you, and there is places you can vent to, and there's places you can release those emotions to. And just please don't feel alone, and I hope that this video helps you in being able to let go of any strong anger or rage that you might be feeling. As always, I suggest having a drink of water and a notepad and pen with you. Write down any emotions you might be feeling, or the intensity you might be feeling, any rage or anger on from a scale of 1 to 10 at the start of the session. And then by the end of the session, we hopefully want that to be at 0 or dramatically reduced. Throughout the sequence, it may go up, and it may fluctuate a bit. That is okay. It is the end goal that we are looking for. And if at the end of the session you still feel there's some lingering emotion there, then please do the tapping sequence again. Always you can substitute your own language in, because it is just as powerful when you're using your own words. So with that, we'll get started on the side of the hand. Even though I'm feeling all this rage in my body, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Even though I'm feeling all this rage, I'm feeling it in my body, and it's linked to parenting and mothering, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Even though there's like this storm of rage and anger inside me, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. I'm just so full of anger. I'm raging. I'm just so angry. It's like there's this volcano of rage inside me, and it just wants to erupt, and there's nothing I can do to stop it. I'm just feeling so much anger. I can't even explain why I'm feeling all of this anger. There's so many things layered on top of each other. I just feel so angry. I feel it all through my body. All of this rage. Feels uncontrollable. Uncontrollable rage in my body. Feel this anger in my stomach, bubbling up through my throat, constricting my chest. It's all this tension in my back. And this pressure in my head from all this rage. So much anger all through my body. All this anger all in my body. I just feel so angry. It's just like this blinding rage. This rage that turns me into a different person. And it just comes over me so quickly. And it doesn't take much for this anger to bubble up. And it just spews out of me. And it's usually triggered by the kids or my partner. Or it can be something little that's just gone wrong in the house, like I've burnt toast. Or it could just be someone asking yet another thing of me and adding another thing to my to-do list. And it can just be one mild inconvenience that's the straw that broke the camel's back. And then all the rage comes up. All this anger that I just feel so strongly throughout my body. And I feel out of control with it. And then I feel scared because of that lack of control. And then I feel guilty because all this anger is coming out in front of people that I love or at people that I love. And then I feel shamed. Ashamed that I'm behaving in such a dramatic way. And then so all of this anger and guilt and shame all just layers on top of each other. And then as quickly as the anger came, it subsides. It's like I had to lose it and let it all out. But then I'm left with the emotions of guilt and shame for letting it all out. And then I'm judging myself for not letting it out in an appropriate way because it comes back to that control. I just couldn't control it. And then there's just all this emotion, so heavy in my body. And then I'm angry at myself, but that's not an explosive rage. that's this inward rage that feels just as hard. And I'm just feeling so many emotions and all this anger at the heart of it. And I'm wondering how I can let this go. How can I make up for it? How can I stop it from happening next time? What can I do differently next time when I'm feeling that anger and that rage start to bubble? And I know that I can choose awareness, and that's what it comes down to. I can choose to become aware of what's happening in my mind and my body, and what's happening in my environment. I can learn my triggers so that I can recognize when this rage is coming next time and try and contain it before it erupts in ways that leave me with more shame and guilt. And while I'm not going to fully suppress my anger, because that will just make it explode worse later on, I can choose to see that it's coming and to redirect it in a different way. So I'm going to choose to take deep breaths, to leave the room or the environment that's triggering me, to find quiet for a few minutes, to go and punch a pillow or a punching bag, to go and run 3 times around the house, to let out all of that pent-up anger and energy in a way that doesn't bring me guilt and shame. And I'm choosing to release all of that anger now. I'm giving myself permission to hold the anger, to have the anger, actually, but not to hold it. Going to remind myself that all emotions are a form of communication and my anger is telling me something. Maybe it's telling me that I need to make a change. Maybe it's trying to protect me. This anger could be my ego trying to protect me. So I'm going to tell myself now that it's okay to have these emotions, and I'm going to choose to forgive myself. I'm going to forgive myself for any time I've let that anger or that rage explode. Because it's not a sign of how much I love my children. It just is a sign that I'm a human being and I feel emotions. And sometimes things just get too much and it comes out in the form of anger or rage. So, above all, I choose to forgive myself for feeling rage and feeling anger. And once I've let myself forgive, I'm going to choose to move forward I'm going to choose to pay more attention to my triggers. I'm going to choose to see these emotions as communication to change things that need to be changed. I'm going to choose to love myself and be gentle with myself and not beat myself up. I choose to let go of any residual shame and guilt that I'm having. And I'm going to choose to move forward from this episode of rage with the determination to just try and improve it next time, in whatever way that might be for me. I may need to seek help for this. It may be a case of talking to my family and communicating about the things that feel like they're too much or that I might need help with, so that I can avoid getting to the point where there's so much repressed anger in me that it just needs to explode. And all I can try and do is be kind to myself and try and be better each day. I don't have to be perfect. And nobody is perfect. And I am not the only mother in the world that gets angry at times or feels this rage bubbling up through her. I'm not the only mother who feels this frustration and who feels so out of control and angry. I'm not alone, and there is support for me. And with that knowledge and my acknowledgement that I do rage at times, I can now choose to move on from it. This anger stored in my body is not serving me, and it's not serving anybody else. So I choose to release it now. Choose to release it from my body. I choose to release it from my mind. I choose to release it from my home. I choose to release it from my relationships. I choose to believe that I can mother without it. And I choose to believe that I'm loved despite it. By my family, by my children, and most importantly, I choose to love myself despite it. And with that said, I now choose to completely let go of this anger and this rage. Just take a deep breath in. Just thank yourself and honour yourself for choosing to take the time today to work on yourself and to admit out loud that you have mum rage. and to acknowledge that fact and choose to do something about it to try and improve it or reduce it. Just make a note on your notepad as to what intensity your emotions are at now. If you feel like you need to do more tapping, please repeat the sequence. And I hope that you got some benefit out of this. And until we tap again, take care.